So are you ready to PR yourself? We'll remove the mystery from all things PR, and we'll discuss everything from our top strategies to tips and tricks and everything that you can utilize to further enhance your brand or your message. I've been in media, I'm a journalist, and I'm also a publicist. I am Leah Frazier, CEO of Think3 Media, and your host for PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. Let's go.
And welcome back to another episode of PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. I am your host, Leah Frazier, CEO of Think3 Media, based out of Dallas, Texas. And I am so excited to be back with each and every one of you. Super excited for this upcoming episode. I'm kind of embarrassed once again. I've had it in the archives for a while. And typically what I do is I'll do a bunch of interviews so that as, you know, life gets busy or work gets busy, I can just consistently drop them. And I didn't drop them. I dropped the ball. So on this one, we're a little bit late, but coming up in this episode, I have Karlyn Ankrom from Oh Snap Social back with social media trends. We were supposed to drop this earlier in the year, but they're still really, really relevant. So you're getting them now. And so she's going to be giving out 5 social media trends that you're going to want to tap into now. So you're going to want to keep it locked in. But yeah, everything's been super interesting. Right now, everybody's at Martha's Vineyard. And I guess I've just been sleeping on this time of year because I didn't know everybody and their mom goes to Martha's Vineyard in August. And now I'm quickly, FAFO, I'm finding out. And I was at Woman Evolve in Atlanta not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago. And one of the publicists for TD Jakes' foundation, or either just his whole enterprise, came up to me. I've known her forever. And she's like, "Hey, are you going to Martha's Vineyard?" And I'm like, "No, am I supposed to be?" And she was like the 3rd person that had asked me if I was traveling out to Martha's Vineyard this August. And I was like, no. And by the time she asked me, it was like the 3rd time. And I was like, should I be? And so she gave me a link to some events and was like, hey, if you can come out, we'll take care of you as far as going to these events. But apparently people book their Airbnbs and the places that they're going to stay like a year in advance. So she's like, if you know you want to go next year, I just suggest go ahead and getting a house or, booking your Airbnb for next August, like right now. Cause there's so much stuff going out there. So I was going to go do what they had going on. I know that there was I think it was the International African American Film Festival, or is an African American Film Festival going on at Martha's Vineyard right now. And several other events. There were some Dallas folks hosting some events out there. So I was like, dang, Martha's Vineyard is popping in August. And I'm not there, totally having a little bit of FOMO, but it is okay because no matter what, I still got the invite. I just didn't know I was supposed to be there. So next year I will be prepared to head out to Martha's Vineyard. So hopefully everyone that I know that's out there is having a blast. I've been looking at pictures and it looks absolutely amazing. Also this week, just got back from the National Association of Black Journalists, their annual conference. It was in Cleveland, Ohio. The weather was amazing. I only flew in for a day to speak on a panel about motherhood and infertility. And if many of you know my particular journey with having my miscarriage, you know how important it is for me to just speak on late-term miscarriages and being an entrepreneur and running your own business and what does that look like. So it was a very intimate setting and I was able to be super vulnerable and honest about my journey. And there wasn't a dry eye in the room. And I just want to thank Cleo Green from NBC Texas Today for having me on to share, along with so many other incredible panelists. It actually was such a good discussion. And it's very therapeutic to talk about my journey, what happened, the advocacy from family and friends that I had when I couldn't speak for myself. And so it was absolutely awesome. So I went to Cleveland just for one day and came back and went right back to work because I had another event here in Dallas called the Black Tie Cinematic Symphony. And y'all, it is awesome. I don't know how many cities the creator Leon Lacey is going to do. I know he's headed to New York, and then I know he's headed to LA, and I think there's 2 other cities, but you can go to blacktieSymphony.com and see all the different cities he's going to. And for Dallas, he brought out Lisa Arundel, who's an actress. And so he had this 80-piece symphony playing while Lisa was doing a monologue. And on the big screens, there were like images and like videos playing. And so it was just this experience of like different visuals while the symphony and the orchestra players were just playing beautiful violins and strings and cellos. And man, it was so freaking awesome. And so then he brought out Erica Nicole Johnson, who's from Dallas. She's an opera singer, and she is absolutely amazing. And then Israel Houghton, who is one of the top gospel artists, has won multiple Grammys. When I say he turned that place out, I'm going to post some videos on my page probably today or tomorrow, because it was absolutely phenomenal. And then, and he released a new song. And then Yolanda Adams rounded out the show. And if you've ever heard Yolanda sing in public, you know, like for me, I'm like, oh, I just got to get my clinics ready, because she's so talented and her voice is like butter. And when you hear her sing live, it's just like, oh my gosh, it's just very, very emotional. So I had the honor of doing PR and working on that project. And if any publicist knows, like when you're working on an event or a project, we're all excited for the day of, and we're also very excited when it's over. But Leon is such a gem, and he is probably one of the most humble people, and probably my top 5 I've ever met in my entire life, to have the experience and the background that he does. And you wouldn't even know it unless you talk to him. And even when you talk to him, he doesn't really talk about it. And for me as a publicist, it was like pulling strings to figure out those names. It's like, dude, you did that whole Beyonce Dubai Atlantis thing that she did at the hotel that went viral. You only had 11 days to pull that together, and you did. And you were the maestro and the conductor behind that. And Chris Brown and Katy Perry, and he's worked with the Jacksons, Janet Jackson, and he was working on a project with the Jacksons and stayed in Michael Jackson's house. And he has like all of these wonderful stories of all the artists that he works with and that he custom makes film scores for. And it's just, I'm like, wow, how did this fall into my lap? So I'm very grateful for the people who recommended me. It turned out amazing. One of the lessons, though, that I will say, and if you do events, always be sure to check what other events you have going on around that time. So Leon, you know, when we were working with him, we were battling several things. We were battling the fact that all of the Black journalists were at the NABJ conference in Cleveland. And I know because I actually text the marketer for the event and was like, hey, I'm on the plane right now to Cleveland, and every Black journalist out of Dallas at every news station is on this plane with me. And I don't think they're coming back by Friday. So that's one thing. You want to kind of check and make sure that the date you have chosen is not saturated, you know, by other events and things like that. And then there was another event that we had going on in Dallas that was honoring one of our iconic Black leaders, Dr. Harry Robinson. He retired last year from running our African American History Museum. And we have a new leader in the house who I love, Lisa Brown Ross. And they were doing a big shindig for that. And I was like, ugh. So now we're split between what community leaders are going to go to that event versus who's going to come to this Black Tie Cinematic Symphony. So we still had an amazing turnout. It was absolutely wonderful. But that was just my suggestion when I think about, is there any advice I can give from some things that have been going on this weekend? That's what I would give you. Always check your city's event calendar to see what else is going on during that time, to make sure that you choose the best date and the best time possible for what you have going on. And so outside of all of these fabulous events, you know, personally, I've made a vow to myself specifically this year that I was going to just be a little bit more intentional about my health, But I'm the type of person, like, I cannot do too much at one time. If I do, I'll just revert back to doing things my way and getting overwhelmed. And I had a really good friend that just kind of instilled in me, just like, make one small step or one small pivot or one small change and start allowing that to become the habit. And then you can layer on a little bit more. And several months ago, I remember it just dropping into my brain, just saying, like, you need to have more veggies, Leah, and do that with some movement. And I'm like, okay, that's it. Those are my changes right there. Trying to have some sort of movement per day, and then trying to incorporate in some way, shape, or form some fresh veggies. So some of mine of choice, I love a beet juice concoction that I'll either pick up from Juice Land or I'll make it at home myself. And so that's my way of kind of, getting my veggies or doing it in a way that, works for me. And some other things, like I really love spinach and salads and things like that. But one of the things that I found out, like even in those intentions for me, is that most of the time, I found out that more than 90% of Americans don't even meet their recommended intake of dietary fiber per day, and that we're still not getting enough variety of fruits, vegetables, spices, and fibers. So even with my intentionality, it's like, it's still not enough. And so I was introduced to this really cool company, Balance of Nature, and they have several supplements that are made for people like you and me. Like, we're busy, we're on the go, and there's just designed to be a convenient way to get a wide array of 47 fruit, vegetable, spice, and fiber ingredients into your daily diet, y'all. When I tell you, I've been taking the fruit supplements and the veggie supplements. I just take them with water. I make sure that I do them daily. But to know in the back of my mind that in addition to all the things like that intentionality, like the movement, and in addition to me making and juicing my favorite things per day, now taking these supplements, I feel even better knowing that I'm taking better care of myself because I'm getting those 47 different fruits, vegetables, spices, and fibers into my diet in a very easy and convenient way. So with me, I wake up, I take it in the morning, and the fruits and veggie supplements have 31 ingredients of 16 whole fruits and 15 whole vegetables. And so some of the ingredients, if you're wondering, include mango, pineapple, wild blueberries, banana, shiitake mushrooms, wheatgrass, spinach, kale, aloe vera, cayenne pepper, broccoli, all of the good stuff. And then they have a fiber and spice supplement that has 4 whole fibers within it. So flaxseed, whole apple, monk fruit, husk, and 12 aromatic spices such as cinnamon and turmeric and cardamom and you name it. It's there. And so just having this balance of nature in addition to what I'm doing every day has made all the difference in me knowing that I'm getting the recommended daily amount of fruits, veggies, fiber, and spices in my system every single day. And so, like I said, super convenient, no bags, no mess, no measuring. You just take your supplements whenever you feel, and you just go. And for those of you that are wondering, they're also vegan, they're kosher, and they are gluten-free. So if you're curious and you want to learn more, I encourage you to go to balanceofnature.com, and hey, you can use code PR yourself to get 35% off of your first order as a preferred customer, plus get a free bottle of fiber and spice. Again, balanceofnature.com, use code PR yourself to get 35% off of your first order, and you'll get a free bottle of fiber and spice. Once you get it, please reach out. Let me know what you think. We'll be on this journey together and I'll be discussing more about it in upcoming episodes. And so I want you to go do what you always do with these episodes. Grab a pen, grab some paper, get ready, because once we get back from the break, I'll be back with Karlyn Ankrom of Oh Snap Social, and we're going to be telling you everything that you need to do to get social media ready for 2025 that we're already in and beyond. So we'll bring it back here right after the break.
This episode is brought to you by KitCaster. Kitcaster books you on top podcasts. How do funded startup founders attract prospects and talent? Podcast interviews. How do entrepreneurs with exits find new deals? Podcast interviews. How do C-suite execs differentiate in crowded markets? Podcast interviews. Kitcaster books you on top podcasts. Click the link in the show notes for a special offer. Celebrate good conversation.
Welcome back to another episode of PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. I have my friend back, Karlyn Ankrom. OSNAP Social, probably one of the top 3 episodes for PR Yourself with Leah Frazier of all time on social media. So I had to have you back because we're entering into a new year and there's new platforms. And Karlyn, somebody's telling me, you need to be here. You need to be there. Blue sky.
Yeah.
And that, and I'm just like, it's like that cartoon where the eyes are going back and forth, like,
yeah, like watching a tennis match, you're just like, and bounce, back and forth.
Yeah. So I was like, let me just get Karlyn on here. You tell us what you're predicting and I'll just roll with that because it's too much noise out there. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah. I think we're all in the same boat in that there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of opinions. There's a lot of new platforms coming out. And I say all this to say that the biggest thing we have to remember is our content that we're putting out there is not about us. It's about our people that we're trying to impact, serve, etc. That's the biggest aha moment I've had in 2024, now leaning into 2025. And the reason is because we have to be where our audience is. Simple. We also have to be in places where we can be consistent. And so if you're not having fun or you log into a platform and you're like, ugh, like this is not the jam. I don't want to be here. Chances are you are going to either doom scroll or you are going to be there and your people might not be there either.
Right.
So I just want to kind of like preface everything that I have to say with like, you have to do you. Like whatever you is, whatever strategy you have, be intentional with where you show up, especially in your business life. Personal life is kind of not really what we're going to be talking about here today. So just for what it's worth. So I have 5 trends.
Okay.
Predictions that, may or may not come true. I don't have a crystal ball, but if I did, this is what I feel like it might tell me. So the first is everyone wants the internet to feel smaller. So we have to be focused on talking directly to our audiences. So this is the first time in the 8 years of owning OSNAP Social that I've decided that part of my business is going to be one specific niche. I am focused on authors, like business to business books. Like those are my people.
Good.
Yeah. So the first time in 8 years that I've done that, I have my whole agency side that's kind of a wild west of sorts. But the author side from the consulting arm, growing a consulting program, those are my people. Because everyone is looking for specialists who focus on a thing. Because there's so much noise, to your point, that we don't know who's for us.
Right.
Or not. And so when you niche down, even if it's not your whole business, like for me, it's just like half, right? Very concentrated, very focused. And then you start to become known in that space. And so people are really looking for the internet to feel smaller. They're looking to connect with like-minded people in the same industries. And it's a lot easier too for if you have referral partners or past clients to refer you out if you specialize in something. And I know that's nothing new, right? Like niching down has been a thing and people have their various opinions around it. But because it is so busy online in the social media landscape, it's important that when you're creating content for these platforms that you're specific on who you're creating it for.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like a lot of small business owners, the one thing that they struggle the most with is trying to be everything to everybody. And even if they go through and like, I know my target audience is, because normally it's multiple groups, right? Mm-hmm. There's still that struggle with just narrowing it down. And okay, I've narrowed it down, but where are they? Like, where do they like to receive their information? And still feeling like you have to be everywhere.
I am like still of the camp of like, pick 2 platforms that you know your people are on and that you can stay consistent with, and that you genuinely, you know, maybe love is a strong word, but like that you genuinely like, you don't mind hanging out on. That's where you should focus your time and energy, because you don't need to be all the places. And even for me, as someone who owns a social media agency, the expectation is that I need to be everywhere all the time. And yes, in some spaces I am everywhere all the time, but I give different weight and different focus and energy to only 2 platforms. Instagram, because I like it there and I can reach existing clients, past clients, family, friends, all the things. So get more like personal vibes over on my Instagram. LinkedIn is where I kind of come out with the hard-hitting opinions around my industry. So that's where I hang out. That's where I get most of my business from, referrals, connections. And I know that. The others like Facebook and Pinterest and all, they drive traffic. We love that for that, but it's not where I like to hang out. And so I don't spend a lot of effort. I repurpose like a boss. And that's actually another point, is repurposing content.
And we've talked about this on prior episodes. We actually talked about this on the last episode for PR trends in repurposing earned media. So let's talk about repurposing content.
Yeah, it's and again, like some of these things are not new concepts. There's a few that I have that are newer, but like this is not a new concept. It's just a reminder. If you haven't been doing it, you're going to see more people repurposing content. Prime example with the launch of LinkedIn having a vertical video feed of its own now. Mm-hmm. Don't reinvent the wheel. If you already have Facebook Reels or Instagram Reels that are relevant, the keyword there being relevant, to your business or your audience that you serve, download it and put it over there just to see how it performs. Because we don't have as much control of where our vertical videos as of now on LinkedIn show up. It's really up to LinkedIn's algo to like pull it and put it on the video feed. And you're probably thinking, well, how do I know that my video got on the vertical video feed? Your impressions are going to be like 500,000 people. Like, you know, unless you're, you know, someone who's a big time influencer on LinkedIn and you already get 500,000 impressions from just like your normal content, you will definitely see that tipping point of just pure impressions and engagement and minutes watched and things like that, for it to know that you got it on the feed.
Let me ask you this question about LinkedIn and this vertical feed, because I guess things happen and I don't realize that it switches, because I'm like, oh, let me throw it on LinkedIn. And I don't realize like, oh, I wasn't able to do that before. But in terms of that, because there are certain platforms that will penalize you. So let's say you are on TikTok and it downloads onto your phone and it has the TikTok watermark. Yeah. Or with I use CapCut a lot, but I pay the extra so that the CapCut watermark is not on my videos.
Yeah.
Have you seen LinkedIn penalizing if we're bringing a vertical video over from a third-party platform?
They also don't want to see it.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing, like from a repurposing flow process perspective, is if you know that you are sharing an Instagram reel, whether you record it on your camera roll first, or if you record it right within Instagram, make sure you save it to your camera roll before you add all like the bells and whistles and captions and stuff. Or even if you have the captions, download it after that. You use CapCut, I use InShot, and I pay for that for the same reason you just said that you pay for CapCut. Like it has like with one press of a button, I can resize it with a press of a button. I can add captions that are like 99.9% accurate in my, they always get my name wrong, but they're starting to wise up. And then they have an AI feature in there that, which I find hilarious because it eliminates what, people call the millennial pauses in between, thoughts where you like and take a breath and like keep moving. So it eliminates that, which also helps with pattern interrupts, which keep people's attention. And just people don't really want to hear you breathe, I guess. I don't know. So it makes it shorter, it's snappier, it cuts, it serves as that pattern interrupt. So definitely, I always recommend for repurposing content, set up a flow for yourself. Like whatever that flow is, whatever that anchor piece of content is. I think I mentioned that in the previous episodes. Like, what's the one thing that only you can create? Or what's that content starting place? For me, it's a blog because I'm a writer. That's what I like to do. That's how I like get everything organized, which then makes creating short form video, showing up on a podcast like this, a little bit more organized. So it's always that starting place for me. And so I challenge you who are listening, like, what's the starting place for you? And then how can you, take, for example, a blog and turn it into 5 different social media posts for LinkedIn, only text-based. And then how can you take those pieces of text and turn them into short form video scripts? And how can you turn those short form video scripts and disseminate it into YouTube Shorts and LinkedIn and Instagram and TikTok, which may or may not be around by the time this episode goes live. But
I was going to ask you that as like a bonus sidebar, if it was really going away on January 19th or...
Time will tell. I feel like we've been talking about it for so long, and this is the first time that it's actually gotten closer. I think what's really sad about this kind of ban is, one, a lot of people make their livelihood on TikTok. And the other is the people who are making the legislation around this ban have probably never even used TikTok in their entire life. Like the fact that even like a couple of years ago, Facebook was under scrutiny and Mark Zuck was in Congress, and people were like, how do you make your money, sir? And he was like, sir, we run ads on our platform. Like they just don't know. And that part is like, can someone get a millennial or a Gen Z person to like intern for these folks so they know what's happening?
Yeah, they all attribute it to like bullying and mental health where, yeah, that's there. And I was listening to an episode with Gary Vee. Yes, I think it was last night. I was cooking and I was like, why cooking and Gary Vee is synonymous? I was listening to Gary's take on the whole thing. And he was just kind of like, hey, parents, at some point, don't let social media parent your kids. You can always tell them to, get off. Phone away or do X, Y, and Z. So there were some points that I kind of agreed with him with. And then there was others where he was like, look, bullying when we were growing up probably looked different.
Yeah.
But has it always been there? And we're just going to blame this one platform. And so I feel like everybody has good points. To your point, I know way more people that make their living off of that. Brands and special causes that I found out from that platform. I myself finally just figured out what people want from me on TikTok. And it's not PR, but I'm like, dang, I was just starting to do really good. And I had a guest, my friend here in Dallas, Shanta Collette. She's like one of the top mom influencers on TikTok. And that has changed her entire life. And she just reached 1 million because she got smart and was like, let me double this over on Instagram.
Yes.
So now her Instagram following is now at 1 million. And I was like, well, thank God in the event that it does get shut down. But there are more people like Shanta Collette, I feel, than there are the bullying.
I agree.
I don't
know. But again, like the algorithm is so good that it conditions our feeds to see specific things.
Right.
And like I have a 12-year-old niece and she just got a phone for Christmas. She was the last girl in her squad to get a phone. And now she's asking for Snapchat. And I was like, kindly I don't think so. Just because you have to also, because the bullying that can happen, right? And, you know, my sister-in-law was like, listen to Aunt Karlyn, like she works in this. She's like, well, aren't you on it? I was like, no, actually I'm not, because my audience isn't there. However, there's a time and a space for all that to be part of your life. And you just have to have the maturity to understand like what it is, how it works, why people are doing what they're doing. And bullying, to your point, and I love that. So thanks for listening to that episode for all of us to glean info from. We love him, but I also got into his vortex for too long. I was like, I have to get out of here. It's important to know that bullying just looked different when we were younger. Like it was like notes and lockers. It was, just like, in the hallway.
Or on the school bus, whatever.
Yeah, it was like the 3-way call that you didn't know your other friend was on. Like it was those. And I think just now it's just more public.
Yeah.
Which is where it gets a little squirrely. And this is perfect segue into like the next kind of prediction. More AI adoption than is already happening. And this goes into like the deep fake videos, deep fake images, and being that Meta is saying we're going to do less regulation on like flagging these things, and we're going to rely on the community to report them. That part is a little bit like, we're going to see what's going to happen. Because I already have seen family members on Facebook like share photos that were obvious to me, deep fakes, but they didn't know.
I saw one this morning. It was like a Facebook page that was supposed to be about Black history facts. And it had like one of the guys from, I think it was two of the singers from The Temptations. And then it had Tashina Arnold, who was one of the actresses on Martin. And I was like, there's no way she would have looked like that in the picture with them at her age. She wasn't even old enough to da-da-da-da-da, but people were like sharing it and commenting and
yeah.
But it was clear if you looked at her face, it was AI. And then the singer on the left, like his eyes were doing something weird. And I was like, y'all, this is totally AI. There's no way that this historical fact actually happened.
And that's what's scary. Like there's going to be no fact checkers to look at that kind of stuff. It just relying on the community to share it. And so I think that's where, we run up against kind of a challenge as users, as well as adopters of AI, of like doing it with integrity. But there are going to be bad actors out there, just like anything. But I think this is a tough battle for truth to exist. And I don't know why I air quoted that, but like it just feels like no one knows what truth really means, because no one knows. So it's going to be a little bit, and I've said it in my recent blog post, it's going to feel very chaotic for a while, even more so than it has been, because it's relying on the users to report things. And I honestly think that was kind of, I don't know, like his Facebook and Instagram and Threads, like all of Meta's properties, like it's like their easy way out of just like poorly developed, like guardrails on what they've been doing, because what they've been doing has been not working, because it's taking things down that are actually true, regulating industries that don't need to be regulated, locking down ad accounts for no reason. Just it says it's about politics, but it was like, I had that happen to me, politics, but it was about like a thrift store. Like it just was like, and not to mention the bots that they can't seem to get under control in the messages. I've hundreds of DMs. Yeah. So AI is going to continue to be adopted. I think both like behind the scenes of social media when it comes to content creation, which again, I am not like someone who doesn't use AI on the day-to-day. I do enjoy it, especially when it helps me generate inspiration, repurpose my content quickly. And when it comes to doing quick research like very quickly, it really helps. So repurposing, speed, and inspiration. Those are my 3 use cases. If you use AI, what a time saver it can be. And I think for all of us who have businesses, if you find things that you're repeatedly having to do over and over again, ask AI to help. Repurposing content, ask AI to help. And, that might put me out of job, but you know what? I don't care if you're taking control of your own content, then I'm here for that, because ultimately your content's going to be amazing if you are the one, orchestrating it.
It's so funny because in the last episode, I said that you've got to take ownership of your own content. And with a lot of folks in PR, when you get those news hits or you get in magazines or whatever, and particularly interviews like this, where it's a vodcast or maybe you're doing a live streaming interview. I know recently I've used Opus a lot for the AI generated clips with the caption, and you can do it in your brand colors. And then even here, this is through StreamYard, and StreamYard is beta testing AI generated clips because they know, like, we're looking to repurpose these interviews. And sometimes, like with yourself and other guests, there's so many nuggets, and there's like these little 1 minute sound bites that we just like, oh my God, that was good, and that was good, and that was good. So now this platform does it for you. Opus will do it as soon as I upload the YouTube link. And so it has made editing and content so much easier. I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah. It streams it out, and it saves you time, and it saves you time or someone else time.
Right.
And that's where I think AI is going to be really powerful. I think we're going to get squirrely, as I mentioned, deep fakes, fake imagery.
I got faked out this morning by a video I didn't know had made its way around again. It just, I shared it because my future husband, he's South African. And there was a video of 200 South African firefighters landing in Canada to help with wildfires. Now, my original friend that posted it did not say which wildfires. So I assumed naturally, okay, they landed there and they're coming to help. And then he posted it today. So I was like, oh my God, they're coming to help with LA. And it was just the most incredible, beautiful video. Obviously I go to South Africa a lot. My future in-laws are there. Mm-hmm. I was just really moved. And the natural thing I wanted to do was I want to share this with everybody because it's so beautiful. So I start sharing it. It immediately starts to pick up. And I'm seeing all these comments. And this one person was like, how did this make its way around again? This was for the Canadian wildfires. I was like, oh. So I took it down just because my journalist mind, I don't ever mislead people into thinking something happened and it didn't. How the hell was I supposed to know?
Yeah. I mean, and that's a good point. It's not that it wasn't real. It just wasn't applicable to the times that we're in right now.
And I don't want to be insensitive. I don't want to, because it was picking up some steam and I'm like, whoa, what if this circulates around? And then people, they trust me and no. So I deleted it.
And shout out to that friend for being like, wait a minute.
So it was a random. I don't know who they were, but I assume they lived in Canada. I assume they lived in Canada somewhere. They were like, no, how did this video make its round again?
I love it.
For Canada. And I was like, oh, well, hopefully they send them again because we definitely need them in LA right now.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, social media, this whole truth it's hard.
It's hard. And it shouldn't be this hard.
No, it should just be fun.
Yeah, we should just know what truth is. The other trends, I think I have two more. The other trends I'm seeing, short form video, not going anywhere. If you're not doing it, do it. I don't know what you're waiting for. Just do it. Be like Nike. Because your people want to consume content quickly, and video is the fastest way of building trust, period. End of story. The end. That's the end of that one nugget. And then the last thing is I've been seeing this circulate a lot. I'm not in the e-commerce space a ton, but live shopping on social is going to be massive.
So is that the new get ready with me?
No? It might be.
It's like a social media QVC. What?
Exactly. And it's funny. No, like, and it's funny because I feel like some brands are already have been doing it since like the live video era on Facebook was like the hotness. Yeah. And now it's just going to be continue to pick up steam. And I feel like we have TikTok Shop to blame for that. And it's going to be trickling over to all the other platforms, as we know, because, you know, TikTok's the trendsetter and everyone else is kind of the follower, the ones that are influenced. So
I'm not even going to lie, with this whole Walmart Birkin bag situation that started over in TikTok land, and then now Walmart has removed it altogether. Some people think they ran out of the bags because of TikTok. Other people think it's because of legal purposes, whatever. I don't care. Mm-hmm. But then there was this other, I think she's a stylist or she's in fashion somewhere in LA. And she was like, well, screw the Walmart Birkin. Here's this Kelly bag I found on Amazon. And it was kind of like I'm genuinely going to buy the little Kelly bag off of Amazon because she took us through and she had a real Hermes bag. She was like, here's my real Hermes Birkin. Here's what y'all are talking about on Walmart, but baby, look at this one on Amazon. And I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah. I mean, and kudos to that, you know, she saw a trend happening and she was like, let me just disrupt this real quick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is interesting. I'm so glad you brought that up because I went to probably 4 or 5 workshops last year on TikTok Shop, and that was their advice. I mean, major firms in New York, that was their advice for beauty brands,
yes.
Those in retail, e-commerce. That was a part of the discussion every single time.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, I mean, I haven't seen it. If you've seen it, let me know. But like, I predominantly, as I mentioned, help service-based businesses. I have a few on my agency side now that are, you know, more in the product space, mostly around like art, that kind of stuff, handmade stuff. But I'm like, how is there a way that we within a service space can take our digital products and sell them live? I don't know. I've never tried it. I've never seen if it works. Because there's something about like having like the tangible handbag or like, you know, here's an orange. Like here, you can actually buy this orange.
Here's my digital workshop.
Here's my, like you have like a screen and it's like, here's my digital product for you to, my digital templates for you to download for Canva.
I don't know. I'm interested in that. I think that would help.
You know, and like, do you like live demo it? Like you have like a screen up, you like share I just don't know. I don't know if anyone's
even with this platform, not to just keep plugging StreamYard, but if you live stream, so this one you can live stream to Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. There is a way to do it to your Instagram live, but I think they're still trying to work out that kink. There's something with that just doesn't jive, but it can go live everywhere else. And you can share your screen and go through a website. And I had an interior designer on some months ago, and I shared her website while we were doing this, and people were shopping while we were having our Q&A. So,
well, there you go. I mean, I think that maybe answers our question, but potentially, like
I was shopping, she was talking, and I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna scroll through the website while you're talking," and I was like, "Ooh, that's cute. That's cute too."
Like, I need those bookends. Give me those bookends.
And they were bookends that I was looking at.
How did I know? Listen, we're the same. So it's that's the biggest phenomenon that I'm going to be kind of watching. I know a lot of these platforms are doubling down on that kind of experience and making it easy for people to buy things through their platforms. Just time will tell. Because I even saw was it a TikTok? I think it was a TikTok that made its way. Well, I don't know. It was a short form video. I'll just say that. I don't remember what platform I saw it, but it was a young lady over in Asia. I don't know which part, but she was going live, and like literally it would be like a conveyor belt. It'd be like a box. It would come down the conveyor. She'd open it, she'd show the product, and then she'd move on. Then open the show the product and move on. And then the links would like start to populate. People were buying it. She sold like $3 million worth of stuff. And like,
you know what? Okay, Karlyn, you got me. I'm looking at boxes right here, that PR boxes that were sent to me. And I was like, just unboxing. Like, I'm just going to start going live and be like, hey, y'all, just got this new. I think I'm getting a new teeth whitening system soon.
You such an influencer. I love it.
But I'm like you, I still write for different publications. And so when they're like, can we send it to you? I'm like, yes. But back in the blogger, you know how it was when blogging was super heavy. It was very time consuming to get the boxes before video was huge, take photographs and style everything, and then convince people, to buy it or whatever your opinion is on it. So now it's like, I don't have to work as hard. I just go live and take it out. Great.
I think that's a really important point is like, it can be messy. Like not, and let me be clear, messy, not like sloppy or like not perfectly curated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think and I just had this question a couple of days ago. I was teaching a class in the American Marketing Association, and someone was saying, how do I overcome this idea as a traditional marketer, right, that has seen all of these new developments and new trends come and go, get over the fact of post-production perfection? And I always give the example of Joanna Gaines during the pandemic, right? The Fixer Upper, HGTV. She actually was doing a Food Network special. Her 13-year-old son at the time was filming it with his phone. And then inside her kitchen, I mean, honestly, her kitchen was very curated and gorgeous because it has to be, right? It's part of the brand. But also, that's probably just how she lives. And then at the end, I remember being like, wow, it was really cool to see the moving, the camera wasn't super steady. And then she's like, you know what, guys, I actually forgot an ingredient. I forgot to add celery seed. So we're just going to do it right now. Just very authentic, very real. And it was an upward, nose shot and her in the bowl. And she was selfieing it because her son had to go to practice or was running outside on the farm. I don't know what he was doing. It just felt real. It just felt authentic. And so I think the short form video has opened it up for that. Social media is a place where people expect this level of transparency and authenticity and showing up however you show up. And so I'm excited to see what this whole live shopping QVC.
I'm gonna try it out. You're gonna be like, what is she selling? And it's be cause I'm literally looking at boxes right now. And I'm
I want you to tell me the full report too of hey, yeah, I sold
the reason I have
$100 worth of PR boxes.
I'm still stuck in that, how it was. That's why they're still here. Cause I'm like, Leah, you got to figure out how to, unbox these. And I'm not quite the Instagram unboxer type person, but maybe if it's live and I can talk about it live.
Yeah. And that also eliminates the overthinking piece of it.
Yeah.
I also know that live feels kind of scary for everybody, including me, where you're just I don't want to say anything dumb.
Right.
But if you frame it in a way that you're talking to a bestie, then,
yeah,
it should be okay, depending on what the topic is.
You're right.
Easier said than done, but yeah. So to recap,
takeaway from today.
Say what?
So that will be my takeaway from today. I'm gonna do more of that.
I can't wait. I'm gonna be looking at it and be like, oh, what you got in that box today? What can I buy?
A tongue scraper.
Oh,
because we were talking
about fresh breath in 2025.
What are they? I forgot what he was talking about, but it was the scraping your tongue and oil pulling. It was the oil pulling technique from India that helps to get all the bacteria out of your mouth. And it actually helps with all of your health, this technique. So they sent me a PR box and I was like,
I'm going to need a live demo of it. No, I'm just kidding. You're
watch me oil pull and scrape my tongue. Yeah. I don't know.
It's definitely something that I feel would be on TikTok and nowhere else.
I need TikTok to be here past January 19th so that I could show it. So.
There you go. So should we recap the 5?
Yes, please.
Okay. So the first is everyone wants the internet to feel smaller. So if you can niche down in a certain capacity and tailor your content accordingly. Live shopping, live social shopping. We just talked about that. Repurposing content's not going anywhere. If you're not doing it, 'tis the season. AI is ramping up and feeling very rampant. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And short form video. It's not going nowhere.
Yay. That sounds like a plan to me. 5 is digestible. We can work on that throughout the year. And if we have issues, y'all go talk to Karlyn. So when they need to someone to talk to, where can they find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn at Karlyn Ankrom, Ankrom, or on Instagram at OSnapSocial, Karlyn, Karlyn.
This is wonderful. Thank you so much, Karlyn. Yay. And hopefully I'll get to talk to you again here very soon. But thank you for your trends. Y'all know what to do. Like, comment, share, reach out to Karlyn, get all the tips. And until next time.
And there you have it. Once again, another fun episode with Karlyn Ankrom of Oh Snap Social. I always like her tips because they're not overwhelming. There are things that you can do right now. And like I said before earlier in the episode when I was talking about my health journey, take one nugget at a time. Don't try to do all 5 at once and then you get frustrated and you're overwhelmed and you're burnt out and you've done too much. Take one thing that you know that you can start now, make that a habit, and then start layering on one of the others and then build and build and build. Don't try to do too much at one time. So go ahead and tell yourself what you can commit to changing this week, and then keep coming back to this episode to figure out what you can begin to implement next. All right. And so like Karlyn said, she's now working with authors. I think this is so timely because I just moderated a keynote session with Dallas Startup Week last week with New York Times bestselling author Brianna Wiest. And one of her tidbits she gave to folks at the end had to do with if you're trying to be an author, whether to self-publish, be an independent publisher, or go with an independent publisher or a larger publisher. So I can't wait to publish that episode so you can hear the advice that she says, because it's definitely not what you think. And it definitely took me off guard because it wasn't what I thought she was going to say. Overall, fascinating discussion. So I'm really trying to get that back from my videographer so that I can get that uploaded by next week. And then the following episode after that, I actually had a chance to sit down with a publicist that totally focuses on authors to give you advice on really how to maximize your books when you're publishing them as a self-published author or when you're working with a small publisher. So you definitely want to keep it locked in. These episodes are going to keep coming with so many nuggets for you. You know what to do. Like, comment, share the episode, rate us if you found this helpful, and follow us on Instagram at PR Yourself Podcast. And you can also go to pryourselfwithleahfrazier.com, sign up for our email list so that you can get a recap of all these episodes. And if you miss it, you'll be notified that a new episode is up as well. So again, PR Yourself Podcast on Instagram, or you can head to pryourselfwithleahfrazier.com, signing up for our email list so you never miss anything or any of the offers or goodies that we have. And you know what to do. Keep it locked in, and until next time.